Could you
Yep.
give us some tactical advice on how you've self-educated yourself, how you've learned about Islam, where you seek knowledge from?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking that. My biggest exposure to my own deen came from moving to the United States. People were asking me questions that I did not have any answer to. Um, like one of the questions I think in high school that someone asked me is like, why are Taliban doing these horrible things? I'm like, yeah, why are Taliban doing these horrible things? Let me get an answer for you. And I researched on it, and I found out how initially the Taliban were funded by the CIA, and I did not know that. And I'd realized that with Taliban, what Taliban is doing is completely against the teaching of Islam. Uh, the death or the death of one innocent person is the death of entire humanity, or if you kill an innocent person, you have killed the entire humanity. And there is no coercion in Islam. Uh, and then and then as I moved on, I started slowly learn. The most that I learned is in the past 3 to 4 months when I started creating content. I actually started creating content in true crime, and I was just trying to get an idea for a crime video that I can do. And then one day I was commenting under an anti-Islamic video, an Islamophobic video, and I was trying to explain them about something. And someone said, "Oh, you are just a true crime content creator. What do you know about Islam?" And then it just clicked. I was like, "Oh, this is what I need to do. This is how I should go about it." So I started researching. Every time I would get an anti-Islamic claim, I would save it. I would go to either Google it, ChatGPT, Reddit post. Reddit is pretty big one because in Reddit there are people. It's actually humans that are talking and they're disproving it, and that's how I went about it. Um, I feel like I have a long way to go right now. A lot of it is just how can I compile this entire claim into a 3 minute long video? Um, and most of it is just, and then most of it is not retained in my memory. It's mostly in this video. And now I'm getting to the point where if someone asks me a question, I have enough videos on my channel that I can just redirect them to that video. Hey, watch this video that I did on this particular topic. And I feel like this is the best way to educate yourself. You find something that bothers you, you go educate yourself, and then you come back. You either comment under their post, or you DM them, or you make your own video and tag them. That is the best way, I believe, to educate yourself and educate others as well.
You have to also not be scared of the answer. I would assume
Okay.
there's a large,
Yeah.
not a large, there's a portion of Muslims who don't want to self-educate because they're scared of the answer. They're just gonna make, oh, I'm not gonna look into it, right? Like say Aisha's age, or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, being a warlord, or Islam spreading by the sword. All of these very controversial topics. Sometimes you don't want to look into it because you feel like, well, what if I find the wrong answer?
And then uh, you Islam is very context driven. And I'm gonna tell you, there's I feel like 80 to 90% of the Quran, if you strip it off of its context, it is gonna sound pretty weird if you if you don't know the reason behind that particular verse was revealed. Like a lot of these violent verses that people claim, people don't realize that for the longest time the revelation was strictly non-violent, and it was about directing or guiding prophet into telling people about what Islam actually stood for, what Islam did for women, or Islam, um, you can no longer gamble or do adultery, or you cannot bury your daughters. That is what the Arabs practiced. They buried their daughters before Islam came. And most of the initial revelation were principles. Muslims were a small group in Mecca. They were persecuted, they were killed, they were exiled. Nobody talks about that. Like, I don't see a single non Muslim talk about the fact that how much Islam was persecuted and then exiled. And then, after years and decades of patience, finally Allah said, fight. Like, defend yourself now. All of these verses are strictly self-defense. Every battle that Prophet Muhammad fought was for defense. None of these, Prophet Muhammad did not unprovokingly attack anyone. And I bet my my career as a social media personality that you cannot find uh, a single verse in the Quran that tells Muslims to attack someone unprovoked. Most of the time it was self-defense. Actually, all of the time it was self-defense. It was due to a broken treaty. It was due to a broken contract. It was due to the fact that Muslims were being continuously attacked or Muslim women were being harassed. So all of that was self-defense. And nobody talked about the fact that how for the longest time Muslims were persecuted as a small group. And suddenly everyone just gets up on their feet like, oh, look, Islam is talking about attacking other people. And those revelations, they no longer apply today because we are not at war. We're not, our government, like a Muslim government, a Muslim country is not at war with any country in the West. And we are not part of the military. Like we are not commanded to attack you. We're civilians. You know, all of that applies to the government, to the military. We as civilians, that command, even if it applied, it does not apply to us as civilians. And that is one of the things I pointed out. Um, we're not at war anymore. And even if we were, that revelation is for self-defense.